There is a kind of spiritual journey that doesn't begin with light. It begins with weight, the kind of weight that settles in your chest when you're young and never fully leaves. The kind of pain that you never asked for, but somehow became the lens through which you see the world. Some of us didn't grow up with belief in a higher power, or if we did, it betrayed us too many times to still call it faith. What we carried instead was pain, raw, unresolved, unacknowledged pain. And it shaped us more deeply than any doctrine ever could. This is not the story of those who believed their way into enlightenment. This is the story of those who bled their way into it. Those who didn't memorize sacred texts, but memorized the silence between their cries and the response that never came. The ones who didn't have gods to lean on, so they leaned on instinct, on survival, on the trembling truth of their own breath. And yet, somehow, even without belief, especially without belief, we found something sacred. We found it not in the heavens, but in the ache, not in the miracles, but in the endurance. What happens to a soul that carries pain instead of belief? It becomes intimate with reality. Pain has a way of peeling off the layers, stripping away the illusions, and confronting us with what is. There's no room for pretense when you're just trying to make it through the day. You begin to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. And strangely, that clarity becomes a kind of spirituality. A raw, bone-deep connection to the present moment. Because when pain is your constant companion, you learn to find meaning in the smallest things: a kind word from a stranger, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of your own heartbeat reminding you that you're still here. For many of us, belief was a luxury we couldn't afford. We watched people kneel in pews while we knelt over our own grief, over our own brokenness. We didn't have the language of praise, we had the language of survival. And yet, that survival was sacred. It was prayer in motion. It was devotion without dogma. It was the quiet, stubborn insistence that we mattered, even when nothing outside us confirmed it. That kind of spirituality doesn't fit in a box. It can't be taught in a sermon. It has to be lived in tears, in silence, in solitude. Have you ever asked yourself why you had to carry so much pain? Why others seemed to be born into light and you were forged in darkness? What if the pain wasn't a punishment, but a passage? What if it was the tool that carved your soul into something vast enough to hold the infinite? What if, in the absence of belief, you were being initiated into something deeper, something that belief alone could never give you? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary. Because pain, when seen clearly, becomes the doorway to truth. Pain teaches patience. It teaches presence. It teaches you to stop running from yourself. And in that stillness, something begins to emerge: not belief, but awareness. A sense of something deeper than thought. Not a god in the sky, but a fire in your chest. A knowing that doesn't need to be proven because it is. You don't need to believe in something you've already touched with your own suffering. You don't need to be told there's meaning. You embody it every time you choose to live one more day with an open heart.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
We who carried pain instead of belief don't need to be saved. We need to be saved. We need someone to sit beside us and say, "You're not broken because you don't believe. You're sacred because you survived." That acknowledgement is more healing than 1,000 sermons. Because belief without experience is just theory. But pain makes everything real. Pain makes the divine personal, not distant, not conceptual, but immediate, intimate, undeniable. You begin to notice that your pain is not just yours. It is ancestral, it is cultural, it is cosmic. You are carrying the grief of generations, the agony of systems, the weight of unspoken traumas. and somehow you are still standing. That alone is a miracle. That alone is sacred. You are not just enduring pain, you are transmuting it. You are taking what was meant to destroy you and turning it into something others can hold on to. And in doing so, you become a quiet lighthouse for those still lost in the storm. There are moments when you may envy those who believe. Their peace, their certainty, their songs. But look closer. Many of them believe because they were never asked to feel. They were never asked to carry what you carry. And while their path is valid, it is not deeper than yours. It is not more sacred. It is only different. Do not let the appearance of ease make you question the worth of your own path. The depth of your pain has carved out a space in you that can hold oceans of wisdom, empathy, and truth. Have you noticed how deeply you feel others? How quickly you sense what's unspoken in a room? That's not just sensitivity. That's spiritual intelligence. That's what happens when pain becomes your teacher. You become attuned not just to suffering but to beauty. Real beauty. The kind that doesn't need to be perfect. The kind that shows up in wrinkles and scars and broken voices. The kind that says, I've been through hell and I still choose to love. And that choice to love, that is your temple. That is your sacred practice. Every time you choose to be kind despite your pain, you are performing a miracle. Every time you choose to forgive, to listen, to stay open, you are worshiping. Not with hymns, but with humility. Not with belief, but with being. And that kind of worship reaches places that belief cannot touch. You may not have belief, but you have something more dangerous. You have experience. You have embodiment. You have truth. And truth is what the world is starving for. We don't need more perfect believers. We need more honest souls. Souls who have walked through fire and come back not with answers, but with presence, with tenderness, with the courage to say, I don't know what God is, but I know what love feels like, and I choose that. So now the question becomes, what are you going to do with this pain? Will you let it harden you, or will you let it become your offering? Will you carry it as a curse, or will you forge it into wisdom? Will you let it separate you from others, or will you let it connect you in the most profound way possible? These are not questions for the mind. They are questions for the soul. And only you can answer them. But if you're still here, still breathing, still feeling, still hoping, then you've already begun to answer. You've already chosen life, and that choice is holy. Don't wait for belief to give you permission to live spiritually. You already are. Every tear you've cried has been a baptism. Every night you've survived has been a vigil. Every moment you've kept your heart open has been a sacred act. You are not separate from the divine. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Becoming the kind of soul that can carry pain and still offer peace. Becoming the kind of human that doesn't need belief to live with love. Becoming the very embodiment of compassion, forged not in heaven but in the furnace of real life. And if you can begin to see that, if you can begin to trust that your pain has shaped you into something rare and radiant, then you will stop trying to fix yourself. You will stop trying to force belief. And you will start honoring the life you've lived, the truth you've earned, the transformation that is already unfolding in you. There comes a moment on this path carved not by faith but by fire, when you stop asking for explanations. You stop needing reasons for your suffering. Not because you've become numb, but because you've grown beyond the question. Pain teaches you to live without guarantees. It teaches you that meaning doesn't always come in the form of answers, it comes in the form of presence. It comes in the choice to be with your experience rather than run from it. And somewhere in that presence, a quiet strength begins to root itself in you. We who carried pain instead of belief don't walk the spiritual path like others do. We don't chant mantras to escape reality, we breathe through the ache of it. We don't meditate to transcend life, we sit still because we have nowhere else to run. And in that stillness, we find something that belief often distracts people from. The raw, unfiltered truth of what it means to be alive. We are not seeking heaven. We are trying to find peace here, in the mess, in the brokenness, in the ordinary moments that no one else sees as sacred. And perhaps that's our gift. We see the divine not in the miraculous, but in the mundane. Not in the thunderclaps, but in the quiet. In the way someone holds a door open. In the look exchanged between two strangers who recognize each other's pain. In the way we offer someone a glass of water, not because it's holy, but because we understand thirst. That's what pain does. It strips away every illusion of grandeur and makes room for a deeper kind of reverence. One that doesn't rely on belief. One that doesn't need to be justified. It just is. It's easy to confuse spiritual life with spiritual language, but we know better. Some of the most spiritual people never say the word God. They don't recite verses. They don't attend retreats, but they show up. They love. They listen. They stay honest in a world that rewards performance. That's spirit. That's the divine in motion. You don't need to believe in a higher power to recognize a higher presence in the way someone lives. Some of the most enlightened people you'll ever meet are the ones who have no name for the sacred and yet embody it in every gesture. So ask yourself this now. What if your pain was not an obstacle to your spiritual life, but the very soil in which it grows? What if the wound you've carried all these years was actually your initiation into deeper awareness? What if you've been walking a sacred path all along, even when it felt like you were just surviving? Pause with that question. Let it echo through you. Because if it's true, then everything changes. Then your whole life becomes a holy text. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. You see, belief often seeks to explain. Pain teaches you to experience. Belief can become rigid. Pain keeps you soft. Belief can divide people, pain unites. When you've known suffering, you don't ask someone what they believe. You ask them if they're okay. You ask them where it hurts. You ask them how they're still standing. That's spiritual intelligence. That's the wisdom that can't be taught in books or found in temples. It can only be earned through living. People who carry pain instead of belief often become the quiet healers of the world. Not because they set out to heal, but because they understand what it's like to be unseen, unheard, misunderstood. They don't offer advice, they offer space. They don't offer answers, they offer presence. And in a world drowning in noise, their presence becomes medicine. You may not have belief, but if you've ever made someone feel safe without needing to fix them, you've already done holy work. You've already been the embodiment of grace. We don't need to be saved, we need to be met. And the ones who have carried pain know how to meet others in their darkness without flinching. Because they've sat in their own for years, they've made peace with the monsters. They've befriended the silence. And that gives them a kind of spiritual authority that no title or robe can grant. The humility of having nothing left to prove. The wisdom to know that presence is more powerful than preaching. And it's here, in this sacred space of pain-turned presence, that something unexpected begins to happen. Not belief, not certainty, but trust. A trust not in a story, but in a process. A trust not in a deity, but in the unfolding of your own becoming. You begin to trust your breath, your instincts, your body, your awareness. And that trust becomes your compass. You stop needing to be right. You start needing to be real. This trust isn't loud. It doesn't shout over doubt. It doesn't argue with fear. It just stays. It stays when the mind spirals. It stays when the emotions burn. It stays when everything else collapses. Because it's not built on belief, it's built on truth. And truth, unlike belief, doesn't need to convince anyone. It just exists. Solid, quiet, steady. You might think that because you don't believe, you're spiritually behind. But what if you're actually further along than you think? What if not believing has forced you to grow roots in your own experience? What if it has made you more honest, more open, more compassionate? What if the absence of belief has made room for the presence of something deeper, something that can't be named, but can be felt? And what if that's what the world needs right now, not more belief, but more felt presence? More people who have learned to sit with suffering without needing to explain it. More people who can hold grief without trying to fix it. More people who know that sometimes just breathing with someone is the most spiritual thing you can do. That's what pain teaches. That's what your life has been teaching you all along. So what now? Now you live, not for belief, not for enlightenment, not for heaven, but for this moment, for this breath, for this chance to be fully here. You live with your pain, not as a burden, but as a teacher. You let it guide you into deeper connection, deeper compassion, deeper truth. You let it soften you, humble you, awaken you, and slowly, without realizing it, you become the very thing you thought you lacked. You become the presence you were searching for. You become the peace you thought only belief could give. You become the sanctuary you never found in others. And in doing so, you begin to heal not by forgetting your pain, but by finally honoring it. You see, the spiritual life is not about escape. It's not about floating above your struggle. It's about descending into it, touching it, loving it, letting it shape you. Letting it strip away everything that is not real until all that remains is your essence, raw and shining. And that essence is what the divine has always been pointing to. Not in the sky, not in words, but in you. You don't need belief to be spiritual. You need courage. You need honesty. You need the willingness to keep showing up, even when it hurts. You need the humility to say, I don't know, but I'm here. That's enough. That's more than enough. That is the beginning of a life lived in truth. So carry your pain not as shame, but as sacred fire. Let it burn away what is false. Let it reveal what is eternal. Let it make you real. Let it make you kind. Let it make you wise. You are not less spiritual because you don't believe. You are spiritual because you feel, because you care, because you stay. And maybe one day, someone will sit beside you, broken in their own way, and you will say nothing at all. You will just breathe with them, and they will feel safe, and they will feel seen, and they will walk away changed. Not because you preached, not because you believed, but because you understood. And in that moment, your pain will have become your power. This is the spiritual life of people who carried pain instead of belief. It is not obvious. It is not celebrated, but it is real. And it is needed more than ever. So please, don't wait to believe in order to begin your sacred life. Begin now. Begin here. Begin exactly as you are. Because this raw, honest, tender, broken, beautiful you is already holy.